You're in front of this now.
And we don't have any attendees, right?
Nope, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll let you know if anyone comes.
Okay, first order of business, I know I didn't send out a sign up, but is anybody able to take notes tonight?
Happy to do it. Got it in my notebook, yeah.
You've got a notebook.
I was actually gonna bring my computer. This could happen. I'm like, I should bring it today. That's
Right. It's a pass.
Yeah.
Thank you for-
We'll talk about that.
Is it about the notes?
Yeah, we'd like to welcome Marie for attending this evening.
Thank
She's
you for having me.
Hi.
exploring joining our committee. So why don't we go around the room and say who we are? You wanna start?
Greg Dunn.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, I'm Jen Howard Schroeder.
Hi,
Nice to
Jen.
meet you. Hi, Tina Burgos.
Hi, Tina.
Cynthia Denner.
Keep your face, nice to see you.
Terry Howard.
I know you.
I know you.
Amelia Klein, hi.
No, I recruited her.
Amelia,
Amelia, thank you. I'm
like
sorry.
Amelia Bedelia.
Okay. Yeah, the books.
Oh, sorry, I'm Taylor. I'm not on the committee. I'm your town liaison.
Okay, great.
Welcome.
Thanks for showing interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we were on a civil rights trip together.
And we had this whole
And we
conversation.
had this whole conversation and I said, you should join. the
Yes.
Human Rights Committee. So here she is.
That's right.
You're such a good recruiter for our group.
No, I'm not. Cynthia is the best recruiter.
That's
share
great. You look a little, you lived in Needham for a while or?
23 years.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
And she's a realtor, and if you look
Yes,
at,
that's right, I remember.
we're supposed to have a realtor.
I
Oh,
really,
that's interesting.
Yeah. It's because we started in the time of fair housing. And so there was supposed to be a realtor, and years ago, I tried to get a realtor and I never could get one.
yes.
But that's not the only reason.
All your hard work
That's
paid off.
Right, exactly.
All these years later.
That's great. I know you said that that was a topic that you were passionate about, housing,
Yes,
right, being in the industry.
right. And now isn't there something up for a
Lots
vote
of
coming
things,
up?
yeah.
Isn't that pretty important?
No discussion here, unfortunately. That's right, yeah. But that's great. We're happy that you're able to sit in and hope we find what we
I
do
figured in
interesting.
person would be better. You'd get to know me.
Great, that's great, thank you.
to know us.
Yes.
We're all gonna be on our best behavior, right? Until you really turn
Greg,
it
do you
on.
have my pen? There's a blue and white pen. Do you,
Oh, yeah?
Your
Oh,
hand.
yes, I
do you
have
need it?
I don't.
Okay, may I?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all yours.
No,
I can actually, oh, you all set.
Okay, so we have a very large agenda. We may have to skip over some things that aren't pressing because, especially given this busy time of year, I know nobody wants to be here past 9 o'clock. I know I do not. So, and since we have no public comment, I guess we can move right into minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes?
I did get feedback from a few of you, so I just have
Some
to make
changes.
the changes.
was it AI? Did you use AI?
That's
great.
right, it was a little strange. It doesn't sound like how anybody would write.
Yes.
I was impressed.
That's what we're doing.
I take it back.
There's another committee that is doing that.
So they are, huh? I think that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
I know
It'll get
a
better.
lot of groups that do, and then you look at it. and
Yeah.
throw
What
stuff out.
application is it?
You can make adjustments.
It's like
Oh,
Google
okay.
Translate.
If you go into
Yeah,
it,
right,
it's like that.
exactly.
Okay,
There's,
It's taking minutes.
yeah, oh, yeah, okay.
I
Yeah.
found 2 typos.
Yeah.
I-
So send them to me.
Yeah.
But so you had a few comments. I'll make your changes, but I didn't hear from anybody else.
Okay.
You can still vote on them, right?
Yes, can I motion to approve?
No.
No, can somebody make motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
I read all of it, it's just amazing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I have to abstain, I was not here.
Okay, I also wasn't here. Minutes approved by those who were in attendance. And you send along the amendments. Okay, thank you. Okay, Amelia, I have you first up with the town webpage.
Yes, and I won't take long. It's a long report. What I wanted to let you know is that it's a lot of work for one person. And I wrote some guidelines, some suggestions I'll send to you. Maybe you might have start a Google document or something. But I suggest that you begin to collect information. You don't have to write it up, but as the semester or the time period. So for example, right now, this ends the first half of 2025. So everything from July 1st until December 31st will go in the town report. So what I have done in the past is just collect things, photographs, emails, important information, and then I write it up later. But the suggestions I have is that, oh, and by the way, it's a format that I've used. This is the 14th town report
Wow.
that has been
I was
written.
wondering, okay.
And you've done all 14 of them? Oh, my
This
God.
is 11, actually, this is the 11th one, 2014, but I know why they didn't put, it's not on our, it's not on our webpage, I think, town hall webpage, it
Okay.
starts at 2016, but I saved it, so I looked at home. That was the first time I wrote a report, and I wrote a bio for all the members. of
I
the
remember.
committee, And they almost flipped, they said, no, that you can't do that. Draw attention to the members, so that may be the reason why it's not there. But the first part is really the same format. There's a format that I thought has worked very well, and you don't even have to update most of it.
So you're talking about the annual report, not the
Not the
website.
webpage.
The annual report, no, this is the
Okay.
annual report.
Okay.
I suggest that there be a facilitator, if one person doesn't want to do it, and I doubt if there is one person, that would just sort of facilitate and make sure that people are writing up, that people share in this. So if you are at the diversity summit, you write and it's a paragraph. We're not talking about a long essay. And it's good to do it while it's fresh in your mind. So I suggest shared roles for people, maybe like people sign up for minutes, they might sign up for different events. The photographs are, you really have to keep on top of that and get people, and once you get them, you can store them and then you can choose what you want, but that's another, you could get lots of photos, for example, the NDI events. They post a lot on their Facebook page and they have excellent, Kim Marie Nichols does some, and Raman also, they're excellent photographers. So I have taken some, Bud has shared things. So I have some photos and things and I'll share with both of you from the
Okay.
multicultural, I'm sure you have a lot too.
Not as many as you think though, but yes, yeah, that'd be great.
And people have shared with me
That's
as
excellent.
well.
Do they have a limit of how many pages you can do?
They've never said anything. No.
Not for you. I've heard that in coming years, we will be shortening it. So I do not know what that will look like, but I will keep you posted.
But that would be helpful to know for the person, before you do this whole thing and say, oh, by the way, a third of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the
You are
last
good
time-
for this year, though.
The last time I had guidelines was in 2014. Since then, so I'm still using, and
Yeah.
I remember Sandy Sinkata, who was before you, she was the secretary to the select board. And she would say, just make it look fancy, so people will read it. So put in photographs,
Right.
because if you look at the other reports, it's bullets, which
Right.
they have to do. So anyway, that's, so I will send that to you.
That's great,
Okay.
thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Oh, and then I also suggest, we do post it on our webpage, the town hall webpage. I wouldn't call it annual report. There's like a little blurb. I would
Okay.
call it what we do, or some catchy title. And then you can always list it in the list of annual reports.
Makes sense.
I'm afraid if somebody sees annual report, they're not, and it
No
really
one's
is,
gonna read it.
it's our calling card. I really think it's something that, and helps new people. So if you would like to read it,
I would.
I'll send you a copy.
You put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
You do a
Yeah.
Great job. We
Yeah,
really
it's
appreciate it.
Actually, it was a labor of love. I really enjoy, I like details, but it really got to, as I put more into it, and had more opportunity to share what we're doing, because
Yeah.
otherwise no one would know what we're doing in this
Right.
town. And and also it highlights what other people are doing. in working for social justice.
I had a question and maybe Taylor can answer. Once we approve the report, the committee, can it go on our website? Would you have to wait till it gets published in the town?
I would wait until it gets published, but we can absolutely, I have it on my to-do list here to add it to the Human Rights Committee webpage.
That's what I
In
meant,
more
yeah.
of a, learn more about our year or
Yeah.
learn more
For-
about our
For
work sort of
people who are
thing.
thinking about.
Absolutely. I think that's fabulous.
Because it probably won't be published
till
in the
June.
whole town report till about June. Usually it's June when Miles
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
it all together.
But I'll try to find years past so we can put something up there. At least highlights, more photos, I think would be helpful for the webpage. It's on my list for next week when there's no one in the office.
Oh,
Before we get-
Great.
These will be just the spelling.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Marlene, you want to give us the?
Yeah, so I am your representative to NRN, Needham Resilience Network this year. And I wanted to talk to you about it because we are focusing on mental health this year. And in order to do that, they're trying to figure out the pulse and what people feel about it in the town from each of the constituents who are represented at NRN. So, like Metco, they're gonna talk together. Each group is asked to do a focus group of 8 people. Well, like we're just barely 8 people, right? And it has to be done in January. So I wanted to let you all know about it and see if there were people who were willing to do it. I'm gonna pick a date, I'm gonna have it at my house. And it gets recorded. And then the recording, with no names or anything, the recording goes to researchers. And then researchers are gonna take the data and make a report about what's happening in terms of mental health in Needham, which I thought was great. I thought that was pretty cool. So, do people want to, I don't have a date right now. Do you want to volunteer or should I just send out an invitation to all of you when I pick the date and you just tell me
That
if
might be
you're
easier.
available?
Once you know the date.
Yeah.
Once I pick a date, okay, so it will be some evening, and, if I can't get 8 people, I think it's whoever I can get.
Is somebody on the police force on
Yeah.
NRM right now? Yeah.
Yeah, there are, I think 30 groups are represented and we're called liaisons. So League of Women Voters is there, Rotary is there, someone from the town is there. I think.
Yeah, Director of Human Resources.
Human
is on it.
Resources, yeah, so they're, and Denise Garlic is on it this year. Although there've been 2 meetings with that, maybe I missed one, so I haven't seen her yet, but now that she's retired.
Who is the police person? No.
Yeah, why'd you have to ask me? Chris,
Okay.
you know Chris?
Deputy
I
Chief
think so.
Baker,
Chris Baker.
Chris Baker.
Maybe.
He's the deputy chief for the police. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, someone from the Y, I mean, there are a lot of people, not everybody has come every time, and it's, so they're really doing something, I think, substantial this year.
I was just asking because we had our budget meeting with them yet last night and they're actually looking to somewhere down the road. Right now, their clinician is outsourced through Riverside.
Yeah.
They want to bring that, they want to hire that person in-house for
Excellent.
the department because it's,
Oh, with the police department, okay.
yeah, so that's why I was asking. They're finding that that position is becoming more and more crucial.
Yeah.
For the work that they're doing here in Needham. Yeah.
So each of us is doing a little 3-minute presentation on the groups that we're representing. And last time, Chinese Friends of Needham, you're gonna be shocked to hear how many Chinese people are in
It's
this town.
massive.
It's amazing. They think like 400.
Yes.
So it was, I mean, she was surprised when she was trying to put it together. And the other thing is, people do like a really small PowerPoint or something, and I'm gonna need help. I'm presenting us in March. So, I don't know. I was wondering if Gemma could
From when you did it.
help,
Yeah.
if she could help me,
Yeah, sure.
or you could help me, or,
Yeah,
okay, because that's like not my thing, my granddaughter said to me, oh, you can do it, it's easy. I said, you know what? I don't want to do it. My skill list is full. You know what?
Yeah, that's it.
So,
Yeah.
so everyone's on board for
Yeah.
this. I think
Sounds
it's gonna
great.
be really good. Great. And there'll be food and they're gonna reimburse me for whatever food.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Carrie.
Keith, you wanna update us on the what's normal anyway?
Sure, yeah, it was, a few of us were reached out by friends that we have at Needham CPAC. That's, yeah, they put together this amazing program, which is, so it's basically, 4 films that get released, 1 a month. And, they deal with, various disabilities, mobility and communication impairment, autism, literacy, and ADHD. And they had some trailers that they shared, which they were really, very moving. I mean, I'm really, yeah, I'm really
Really
looking
good.
forward to, I mean, they look very well produced and they're real movies. And I think that there'll be great ways, for people to learn more about these disabilities and, the ways that they affect people who have them and, all members of our community. So we were asked if we were willing to be a partner in promoting these movies. So it's a 4-film series, 1 event a month from January 2025 to April 2025, funded by the NEF, supported by NCE, and totally free for attendees. And so they were asking if we would be willing to partner up with them, which basically, I mean, it's, including any kind of, make sure that we try to help advertise the event. We share it on our social media and,
Right, they're not asking us to do any heavy lifting.
no,
Just
exactly.
wanted to show us
Yeah,
support.
exactly. Yeah, and and if possible, we could organize going out to actually see the movies when it premieres. And I think it's so important, and it's something that has kind of been, there's an ADHD sufferer myself and my son, and these are things that I think they're long overdue that we start to, shine some light on these disabilities and do what we can to help with acceptance of it across the board.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
if you've had a chance to look at the trailers, like I said, they're really moving. And I think this is a reasonable ask. And so, barring any discussion,
I move that we vote to,
I think that'd be
that
great.
we vote to,
A second.
partner or sponsor, the movies.
I think that'd be great.
Movie series.
Amelia, second, all in favor? Yes,
Aye.
anyone opposed?
NDI voted.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was,
Awesome.
But they got clarified that it wasn't a requirement that you get a group to go together.
that's right. So, yeah, no, exactly. I think it's just a suggestion, but I think
Maybe somebody will.
it would be
wanna have
nice.
people for dinner
Yeah,
and
right,
go see
exactly.
it.
I think it's,
Is that Newman, I think?
yeah, where did they say it was?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's nice when we partner or sponsor things, if we can attend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least some of us attend, I think it's really.
I agree.
Totally agree.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I'm really looking forward to it, and they're doing wonderful work, and any word that we can get out about this, I think is gonna
And
be
it's
good.
very much a part of our mission that we maybe don't always get around to, so.
That's right. Yeah, when organizations bring like things like this to us, I think it's important that we support them any way we can.
good.
Do you know what the January
You want
date
the
is?
other one?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Oh, is that what it was?
And it's
Yeah,
different
the-
days of the week.
Yeah,
So
so
they're not
it's,
all the
That's what's
same.
normal.
yeah, January
Okay.
8th, February
Wednesday,
11th,
I think
You want to keep this?
um, yeah, March 12th and April
Because I
3rd.
just scheduled a whole
This is a
bunch.
different one.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance, check out the
Oh,
trails, they
okay.
really are
It's like a
amazing.
Carrie kind of.
Yeah.
Suck it right in.
Okay.
Where are they?
Let Carrie have it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Oh, well, if we have your email, we can just send it to you.
Oh, yeah, so Newman Elementary, that's right. And it's actually 6:30 PM each of those dates.
It's already been all over social media.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah, I've seen
I've
it.
liked it.
Yeah,
Jen Shack Khan is the
She's
person who
been-
sent it to us,
yes,
and, there are other people who
Yeah.
are working on it.
Yeah, maybe we'll find somebody to get involved.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's great.
While you have the floor, do you want to continue with the?
Sure.
conversation further?
Yes. Yeah, so we also approached by somebody from Story Starters, which I think many of you are probably familiar with the
Yes.
work that they do in town. They have just a little blurb, just making an announcement for a program that they're running. It's a family conversations program for children ages 3 to 8. And it's a program designed to help families have healthy conversations with their kids about race and racism, using picture books as tools. So families will receive books and resources, and they can participate in family events and online parent workshops. And the first event is First Parish in Needham on January 26th. And there's an award-winning author, Rajani LaRocca, will be the special guest author. And so, families interested can go to story-starters.org. But the registration closes soon on January 10th. And
That's a fee.
yeah, that's right. It's not free. I can't remember what exactly
It's
the
their
price was, but
business, so-
that's right.
But we should be aware of that in terms of how much we can publicize it.
Story-starters.org. That's right, Greg. But it was, asked that looked into a little of their program and,
Are they asking us for support or?
no, not really,
Oh,
no.
just
Yeah, just
let
to
us
make an
know.
announcement. Yeah, they thought that, that
Letting
we'd be
us know.
interested in their program and they, were hoping that we could at least announce it. And yeah, I think it's a worthwhile thing if
Yeah, I just read about, I think it was in Hometown Weekly,
Well,
that's somewhere else.
she was the big part of the program for the Diversity Summit, Miss Carolyn.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and she did
exactly.
people who were there got to read a book and do things in small groups, so. Yeah, it's very good program. However, when she approached another organization to ask them to kind of partner with them starting up, that we couldn't do that.
Right.
That was NDI.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this
We
is
can
really
announce
just,
it,
yep,
but not too much more.
that's right. Yep, exactly right. So for those interested, check out the website and see if it speaks to, yeah, I think it's $125. Scholarships are available upon request though, so people should check it out.
People have a right to make money and not everything is funded by grants.
That's right. Yep,
Does the
and
money
many
go to
worthwhile programs.
Does the money go, is 125 per kid?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Does
So
that
that's
go
per family, and it comes
Oh, per
with,
family.
it comes with a bundle of 6 books, parent
So for
guides.
example, I have 3 kids. If I took 3 kids there, it would
It's
just be
125.
125 or?
Yeah, 125 for the
Okay,
families, right? That's
That's for
exactly
family.
right. Yep.
Does it benefit anybody or?
So
Organization
the
or- I'm just
program
curious.
themselves, yeah, no, exactly.
They may be a not-for-profit
remember if they're- yeah.
organization, but
Yes.
paying the people who were working there.
Oh, of course, yeah. But 125 puts you out of reach with them.
Yeah, that's why they're doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if the fee is outside of someone's ability, I would suggest reaching out to them directly, because I know that often these programs, they want people to come and they want, they want to have these conversations.
And it's really
I got some earlier.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smell.
Oh.
Yeah,
and that was
amazing.
Yeah, they smell really good. No, but they look beautiful.
I love the book too.
It's great.
I want to
Chocolate's
own it.
awesome.
I don't know if my grandkids will like it.
It was
I
a
like
great,
it.
great book.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's a
a
great
book.
book.
That's the napkin.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's right. Thank you,
Make it
Carrie.
worth it.
Yeah,
Burn some calories.
that's great. Do you have any update on the forum on immigration?
I think that the major update would be, we're working closely with our partners from the task force, the Immigration, Needham Area Immigration Justice Task Force. Karen Price is in very close contact with the speaker, who is going to be Heather Younes. And I think, immigration is constantly doing this. And so I think that Heather, because she's on the forefront of doing this in her day job, is kind of guiding what the conversation is going to be that night. But I think the focus is going to be trying to talk about what they anticipate might be coming with the new administrations and strategies they used the last time that we were in this position.
She's great. I mean, I've heard this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
She's great.
And she's very willing to, she's very approachable. One time I talked to her about a situation, said, oh, well, get in touch with us, we'll help you, you know.
Yeah,
There's-
which is great.
I think this is totally the right time, Sally.
So,
doing that.
another cool part, and I'm trying to blank on the name of their project, but I think it's Heather's son.
It's Miles, yeah, her son.
It's right here if you want.
It's, they're teaching music,
It's right there.
Stitch, students teaching instruments to create community harmony. It's a nonprofit that teaches instruments to immigrant children living in a shelter in Everett. So Miles is actually in Gemma's class. Oh, and Maggie's also in Gemma's class. So they're part of, they started this group and they're also going to be talking a little bit about the work that they do. And then additionally, there are going to be tables that are going to be set up outside or in the sort of common area where it's going to be sort of organizations that are involved with immigration work or other resources where people can get information about how to help if you need help yourself. We're trying to, I think it's trying to be sort of a holistic approach to what's coming down the pipeline.
Right, so it's not just bad news, bad news, bad news.
Yeah. What,
Yeah,
what
any-
she thinks is gonna happen and then, you know,
Yeah,
ways that
It
people
says
can get
any
involved.
partner group, which means us too, can do the table.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something to have a sign up sheet, people.
Right, so right now we're in the process of, and do you know if Karen has reached out to any, she's got any, oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm involved too, because I'm on that group of reaching out to the houses of worship. So they have some people already represented in the Immigration Justice Task Force, but I brought it up at the last Clergy Association meeting and gave them names of people and got my house of worship to agree to be a partner.
Right.
They didn't have a choice because I'm on both of them. And then the day before, we're doing a similar kind of meeting, which is, we're reading a book that's about the story of the immigrant Solito, very good book. And then the second part will be things that you can do. And I imagine that they'll have some people there from the Metro West Immigrant.
I mean, I think
Center,
it's,
Workers. Center.
I spoke with somebody involved with one of the elementary schools, and she's very concerned because there are some parents at her school that are undocumented.
Mhm.
And so she is very concerned about what's gonna happen with those families, their native families. So she was very interested in this kind of programming. So I think that it's sort of going to appeal to a lot of different, you know, folks like us who are interested in social justice, but people who really do need
Yeah.
Oh,
this
there's
for
such a
a
need right
functional,
now,
I mean, it's
unfortunately.
real life application, right? So she's hoping to get, and then also, she obviously can't out these families.
Yeah.
So how is she gonna navigate that with her students and
Yeah, they're,
with those kids and the parents?
and I don't know if they're doing them in Needham, but through the Framingham Metro West Workers Center, they've had groups that are doing Know Your Rights. And then they have things like telling parents to have papers with friends about giving guardianship or something to their children in case, and it's just, but all these things are really important in helping people if they have the possibility of getting TPS, or if they can start the asylum process. So Metro West Worker Center has been doing a training program for just ordinary people who want to learn some of the legal things.
Yeah.
So, because there aren't enough lawyers to go around, but if they sit with a person and help them go through the form. So there are a lot of things that people can do. And hopefully, well, they have, one of the people from Metro West Worker Center comes to the task force.
Yeah.
Mm.
So and hopefully that a lot of
Yeah,
it's gonna.
are you on the task force now too?
No, it's just, I'm part of this
This
organization.
Yes, so you all really brought it up some time ago. Jen did to them,
Last year.
so this was very good to get planning going. Little did we know how much.
Yeah, and I mean, isn't Maura Healy gonna make Massachusetts a little different than what's going on in the rest of the country, probably?
I mean, there's only so
If
much
she
she can do.
If she
right?
can,
There's so much
if she
right.
can.
It also could put a huge target on us.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yes.
and they go federalize the National Guard in
Yeah.
the state.
What a mess.
Come to the raids. Never, not too long ago, there were those raids, even in places like Roach Brothers, and people, the immigrants who were not, didn't have papers would run out the back door and all.
I mean, I sat with people in sanctuary.
Yeah, we
We
both
did
were in the
this,
sanctuary.
yeah, sat at a church in Newton. I used to sit there.
Yeah.
And
It's
if I
24 hours.
came, I had a whole protocol what to do.
Because we knew they weren't gonna respect sensitive locations.
Right.
I think one thing that I wish, it's like too late now, we're already out of the train collector station. But originally, I really was hoping that this event would be something more like just an immigration 101 to kind of help try to get people to understand a little bit better what's going on
Mhm.
outside of the rhetoric.
Yep.
But I have a feeling that that's not what this is gonna be able to be because of
No, but I
the
but I do
temperature.
think there's
reason.
still a need for that as well, though. I feel like.
Mhm.
we should try
I
to-
think when you started it, though, we were in a different place.
We were in a
Yes,
very
we
different
were.
place. I mean, it was last,
That's correct.
We
It was
were.
last
and
spring.
I
It
guess
was
what-
before the election.
yeah, it was
Sorry.
last spring.
Long before.
What worries me is that the people who may have been, not too engaged and not really caring all that much about immigration at all, the way things played out over the last 9 months or so have got people who were maybe not paying attention, now paying attention, but using really bad information to
Make decisions.
yeah, and what they're mad about, like the scarcity of resources and who
Mhm.
should get what and why and all
Yeah.
that, I think.
It's a much more tense environment
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
That's
and
for
like, I
sure.
feel like
Can they-
now people.
can they
we probably
talk to-
lost some people.
Heather, about doing at least like a 15-minute overview of some of the basics.
I think so. I think that it's not so much what she says now, but who we're gonna get in the room. I think, I don't know, I imagine that it will be most of the usual suspects in the room, as opposed to the folks that maybe don't really understand what asylum is and maybe would come to something to find out what it was. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I think it'll still be a great program, and I think it'll bring together a lot of people who are excited to get involved, and that's a good thing.
So has publicity started? Like save the dates?
Yes,
Will the event be
Did you
recorded?
get, we should.
I
Marlene,
think
did
the
you
answer
get-
to that was no.
I saw it go
Because
around.
what
Yeah, but I
Heather
think
said
it
was
was
that, because the changes happen so frequently, that it would be like quickly, out of date.
Right,
Okay, and maybe to protect some of the information that's being shared as well.
She didn't bring that up. I don't know if that was part of her concern,
Tell me again the concern she had.
that whatever she said was the rule today, which could be different.
changed
2 months
tomorrow.
from now, and that it wouldn't be useful to have a recording of it.
it's about-
Oh, the recording,
So,
yes,
yeah,
yeah, no, not a good
To
idea.
have wrong information,
Right.
right?
And we went back and forth about whether to try to make it a Zoom option for people, and I think that while everybody wants to make it as accessible to everybody, that they thought that it would be a better conversation if it was just all.
Yeah, there's some things that just need to be that way.
That's the plan for now. And I think for the community tables, aside from us, the task force, I think that they were gonna ask NRN to do a table, maybe community council, NDI, League of Women Voters. And I think they were also gonna ask ICON, Chinese Friends of Needham. And I cannot remember the official name of the Muslim organization.
The Muslim family,
Needham
Maybe.
Muslim Families, I think.
yeah,
It's a Facebook group. It started as a Facebook.
Okay, interesting. So I think that that's who they were gonna.
and then the
reach out to.
houses of worship were
Yeah,
invited.
and the faith communities, yeah.
And this is playing out in Natick.
That was
Right,
fascinating
you
to
shared
me,
that article.
because I can't imagine that flying there. Do you?
And the blogs are awful. Even next door, I first saw something in next door, and that's usually pretty controlled. And people, there'll be two sides presented, but It's just getting out of hand. I mean, it's crazy, the things that are people.
What is that next door?
Next door, it's like a neighborhood blog,
It's like a-
regional. It's free, you can sign up. It's neighbor helping neighbor. It's not really to complain, although you do get some.
They're complaining about the event or they're complaining?
No, well, I think we're gonna talk about it later. I didn't want to.
About what
Oh, the
went on in
article.
Dublin.
Yeah, the
Oh,
article,
okay.
yeah. This happened recently, last
Okay.
week or so.
Okay, and then I have discrimination complaint process feedback on here, but is this left over from the last one, and do we not have any new information? I
No.
think this was left from.
You gave us the flyer that someone here had put together.
That was that. Yeah. And then I just had a quick update, we got feedback, after our last meeting, we talked about the town was trying to charge us for the use of the space, and that is like fully waived, so that
Yes.
is also.
For this, yes.
Oh, it was.
Yep, for this year and for all years going forward.
Because us using it.
That's right.
Saying it's no different than the school.
That's-
We're a town.
Yeah, exactly, but that was really good to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you know about the Arts Council grant that
Yes,
got funded for $1,000.
that's right.
For what?
We had a couple
Multicultural.
grants, yeah, it was, and
Oh.
there was that the one, the house one, was two, it was one that
They
was 2,000 as
asked for
well.
2,000, but they got 1,000. That's what Raman said.
So then there was another one too, right, Charlie?
We got something from Needham Bank.
Yes, that's right, exactly, right. Oh, yes, thank you for that. That's right, yes, Needham Bank, so we had a few grants and donations that we were.
Cover everything?
Yes, more than,
You
which
have
was
extra?
nice, yes,
Oh,
which was great.
much better than.
Yes,
last
than
time.
where we were, well, especially with the town's waiving of that fee, that was really the deficit that we were trying to make up for, and,
Thank you for pursuing that.
oh, no, there was lots of people who did a lot of work behind the scenes, and it took a little while after the event.
Yes.
But now, we feel like we have it lined up for future events, and, we'll try to continue to do things like this and
Yeah.
and not rely so heavily on funding from NDI, that's the goal, so.
It's interesting, because we used to meet at Broad Meadow.
Yeah.
And we could meet in any town
Right,
building.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
must have been somebody new who, just didn't know.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's good to hear and looking forward to the future.
Yes, it's great. Cynthia, do you have an update for us on community conversations on race?
Well, I should just say thank you, Taylor, for
That's about.
taking the
Yes,
helm on
thank you.
this, that's right.
Yeah.
I feel like I usually give you bad.
We get the
so I'm
credit,
glad I
yeah,
was
but
good.
this is a lot of email. We won't ask how many emails we have to send, but we know the sound is supportive of events that we put on now, which is great.
So Amelia and I have been the representatives for that, and the last meeting we had was in June. And I think told you last week that, the approach that decided to take is that some of the school people, Joanne Allen will be, Beth Finals, were working with Katie King, who's the deputy town manager, right? And it's the person they've been using. Gary Bailey works with the Real Coalition, it's phenomenal. He was the speaker one year for the Diversity Summit. So here's the update. He's working on a proposal for us to share with the full planning group by the end of this week. This was just a couple days ago. When I get that, I will circulate to the planning group and send out a doodle poll for us to reconvene in January. So this is getting closer to the making it happen, the next community conversation on race.
Is there any sort of, do you have any idea of any direction of where that's gonna go?
You see, are you in that group?
No?
I can't read, I have the list somewhere. Yes, I think I mentioned that last week that they wanted to look at, and it's gonna be tricky about how you get through the door, about how us white majority people are contributing to racism and what people can do. And that's hard to get this was identified by, and the voices, we did.
Sounds like a very easy.
So, this is a- So it's not gonna be phrased like
Can't wait to
that.
watch that.
We love you, allies. Let's sit down and have some tea.
That's right.
We'll
Very
go through it
entertaining.
again and nothing will happen, no one. That wasn't.
Mhm.
So this was what was identified, and we were at the meetings and there were it's a very small planning group, and we have Dan Budakant and
Joanne Allen.
Joanne
Willoughby.
Allen Willoughby, Beth Finals, we have Raman and it's a lovely woman who's from the Chinese Friends of Needham, who's in NRN.
I forgot her name.
No, anyway, I usually write these things down, so. And Reverend Sandra Bonnet Kim is born in Korea and has experienced living in Canada and then the US, a lot of the same things that others in the group. And they were a number of the people of color were very articulate in saying what kind of things they've experienced over and over again. And people come and people go and there's no changes. So they're trying to think of a way to look at how people might change that would make a difference. And that's where I think having Gary Bailey as a facilitator would be really good, so that it's not preset, but we started off last spring with the program that was led by the students who are involved with their community, their conversations on race, courageous conversations on race, and with help from Joanne Allen Willoughby. We were in small groups, some people were there, and to go through what they were actually doing with the students. And I think people were engaged. It was a more diverse group than usual. So hopefully we can get to the next place. And we know that some of the town officials have been a little bit busy with the fall election and now extra to do. And let me see, it's Kevin Keane, I think.
Kevin was on for a while,
Well, he still is. Just we haven't met since June,
right?
but we were able to meet with Katie before the first meetings to help think through who would be good people as representatives of different groups, and not try to redo an NRN kind of thing, but just to have some people to touch bases with. So, anyway,
Thank you.
okay. If anybody's, how about I give this to you?
Perfect, thank you.
That's what I try to do in other groups, is write up a report in advance so that people were taking notes.
Appreciate it.
Cynthia, while you have the floor, is there any update on the MLK?
Well, I would turn it over to Amelia because I had to leave early, and you might say like about the theme or anything about the program that you want to share.
We're still forming, every time we have a meeting, we have a new group of presenters. We
Yes.
will not have a keynote speaker. This,
Yay.
unfortunately, the people we targeted, it's just too late. The young presenters will really be highlighted. I think there are 5 segments of the program where the choirs, or we're hoping to get the bomb squad back again. Let me think.
They're dancers. It's
They're-
not a real
yeah.
bomb squad.
Yeah, what it was on a list somewhere.
Glad you clarified.
From the school, I go, wait a
high school
minute.
And
Stephanie.
well, it's segments of the program. Brother Dennis will be there. He confirmed he'll have a greater role because we don't have a keynote speaker.
As the Elliott.
Oh, and
School
we have an
Choir.
interesting, and I'm not gonna tell what it is, an interesting interactive activity to get the whole group connected.
That Kim Marie must have come up with.
Yes. But it's really good. It's even better than last year.
Okay. I liked it last year.
Yeah, and
Streamers, right?
we've been fortunate to have the Elliott School Choir. I don't know if anybody here's from the Elliott School, but a fantastic choir.
They're wonderful.
And
They're
they're going to,
really-
they did a program 2 years ago, they're gonna redo this Montgomery bus boycott, and then they replay it, and the kids come through the audience and their songs, and all, it's very moving, and Raman's gotten together the choir that has children from Temple Beth Shalom and from Metco families, and we used to have that, and the families one year we didn't have it, they begged, they said, we're really missing that. And there's some other creative things that are gonna involve kids from the school, so.
And last year Renaz was sort of the
Yeah.
moderator. This year we have someone from Wellesley. And I forgot her name. She's a person of color, very active in Wellesley and very disappointed with what is not happening in
Something like
Wellesley. And she
Odessa.
volunteered to be she's very dynamic,
Oh, I thought she was just doing the introducing,
introducing, yeah.
Yeah, like the MC.
but I didn't know she was doing it throughout the program. Okay,
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
That hasn't been
Anyway, it's
decided.
very
Somebody
nice.
has to introduce all the.
That's great.
so the second part is, thank you to the people who have volunteered for picking up the food for the refreshments and for setting up or taking down, and we could use some more people.
I like to volunteer at the very last moment, but I guess that's.
No,
close
that's not
enough.
the last one.
No, I
That's
think
not
that's,
January.
well, that's right, exactly. So I'll volunteer now, though. I won't be the last one to.
Cynthia, did I?
I'm not
read-
sure what the needs are
You
still.
said that you would
No,
help.
I know, but did I read something? Because I get stuff from NDI. I'm on their mailing list about all their, something about them rethinking having food.
I think you may have read in the minutes.
Oh,
Remember
maybe I-
that part that said the food aspect? Because I'd said,
Yeah.
maybe we don't do food every year, maybe we can get involved in some other ways, and I think they need help getting
Oh,
connected
that's where
with
I read
Metro
it.
and all.
Okay.
And that has happened, because I opened my big mouth again at NDI, and we got some things going again that had gone by the way,
Okay,
and
that's
we've
where-
got Gemma volunteered to help get to the bomb squad because of the fact the advisor isn't responding. Yeah, no, I think they really like it, and I've got all four of the places have agreed. If you want to do Hazel's again, I will send that to you.
Yeah.
Email,
Wherever,
and-
wherever you need me, I will be there.
and Tina and, not Gemma, but Riley have volunteered to do the coffee, and Starbucks has said yes, and people have been very good about saying yes, and,
Did
but-
Bud, he usually volunteers.
oh, yes, he has. So he gets to do Trader Joe's, but he has to go buy a ticket. And then what we're doing I've got the Roche Brothers, they only gave us 100, I asked for 150. Oh, well, I can always ask for more. Oh,
You know, new owners, right?
and instead of getting platters that you pick up that day, what I started doing last year is ordering the same things they have on platters from the bakery, pick them up in boxes, and then we just put them out in the platters and you get more for your money.
Mhm.
And then we'll have the juice boxes and the fruit bars for quick energy. And if people know any other places that they'd like to see donate, it would only work if the person did the whole thing. You know, write the letter, get all the stuff, talk to the people, make sure they remember it. So anybody, I know not everybody is there on January 20th, so that's the most important thing, is to be there.
Last year I had to work.
Yeah, I've got Keith. Yeah, but anybody else?
I could be a maybe, I'm not totally sure yet.
Yeah.
I can be a maybe, I have to
Yeah.
confirm on my schedule.
And you might just want to come with your kids if you're able.
Yeah, is it okay to bring?
Oh,
It's
yes,
all- it's very
that's why we
family
have
friendly.
young.
Three little
And
kids?
yeah,
Yes,
very
absolutely.
good. Sit near the aisle, you can
Yeah.
walk out back and
That's
forth.
right.
It's great. No, I mean, give them a
Run
stretch.
around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
I would like to
event.
bring them,
Young
yeah,
little
any
kids.
event I could bring them to, I'm
Yeah.
happy to.
But you can come early
And,
and have
yeah.
Audrey bring the kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
you
she'll
got
love
all
it. She'll love
kinds.
it.
You can tell her I suggested
But it's true, the kids that I saw at the event last year, they had a great time. They looked like they were just like loving it. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of, anytime there's music and excitement and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
It
Yeah,
seemed
oh,
like they really
They
enjoyed
can't
it.
sit through the whole
And by
thing. It's
not
too long.
having a keynote, that doesn't mean we aren't ever going to, but then you don't have 15 minutes that goes too long.
That's right.
Yeah, that's really
And
tough
they
on
can be
kids.
really great for the adults, but I doubt it's gonna be for kids.
Yeah, that sounds good, yeah, I'm definitely gonna.
Maria, have you ever had a chance to go to them? Do you have a
No.
program?
No.
This is your opportunity, if you're in town.
Well, and where is it?
The high school.
It's at the high school. I mean, we did things at the Elliott when I was involved there, but, like, not on that scale. But
So,
I would go.
yeah, so
I can volunteer. but I want,
Well,
if
you
you,
don't have to volunteer, but if you're there, we can.
Wait till you're official. You don't have to
Yeah.
say it.
We'll tell you to empty the coffee.
I'm good at cleaning up.
Wait, I'll write this. down. No, well, if you can just come and be there, you get a sense of.
Great,
things.
yeah.
And
It's
one of-
really a community gathering. I was just so impressed last year. I mean, just all, people from all over the community were there, families and
I
people
like
from out of the
going to
community.
those things. My children didn't allow me to go to the high school very often. Trying to volunteer,
Right,
you know,
Volunteer.
they were like, don't come,
that's
don't,
right.
don't you dare.
Evidently, we're very embarrassing. I don't know.
I don't know
That's what my
why.
daughter tells me all the time.
So I would love to
I can't wait for
go
you.
in person.
But it's not a high school, the high school is not organized, it's
It's-
Needham Diversity Initiative that is
Does it?
organizing, and
And
we're
human
using
rights.
the high school, but we work together with the high school students and.
And they come to. the-
Yeah, the representatives, yeah, the bomb squad, for example, we had a young woman recite a poem that she, Shyla, finally got her last name,
Oh, you did?
yes.
Great. Yeah.
And I forgot
I've
it
been
already, it's in the
touch with-
report, read the report.
Some people know Beth Finals, who
Yeah.
does some work at the high school, and she's in touch with a lot of the groups. So she's working on reaching out to the Black Student Union, to the members there, and see, last year, I think some of them who got involved and did some readings. And we're not saying, well, we have 3 things that we need to get people to do. You come, or, you know, we said, what would you like to do? Here are the things that are going on. And did you say the theme? Because they changed the theme. The new theme is something about.
Yeah, we decided it was too political. It was a quote from Dr. King about we need great leaders who are not interested in,
We're in love with justice,
In-
not money.
and not money, but yeah, anyway, we
I think that's-
changed that title.
It
And
did
we
say
have
that
another-
2 times.
we have another title, and I forgot that.
And it has something about serving is the second part.
And connecting, so the connecting is gonna be the theme throughout the, including Kim Marie's interactive exercise.
I guess I'll have to come to the next meeting.
But I'll be sharing something soon so we can get, save the date. I'll be sending something to the Needham Observer and Hometown
great.
Weekly, saving the date. So I'll share something with you. We should have a title in the next couple of days. We should tune that.
Yes. Getting close.
Oh, if I call up the thing here from Kim Marie, it will have it on it, the latest.
I mean, it's a month away.
Poster.
This is the 19th.
Yeah, here it is. Here we
You
go.
won't be there.
Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And this is the poster. If anybody wants to pass.
Oh,
it.
did she,
She
I
sent it
didn't
out.
see that. Oh, when did she send that? Early today? Because
I don't know, I've been in too many meetings.
I didn't get it. Ooh, That's
But
the updated one, with the new title. I didn't get it.
Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. That's refreshing.
You got it today, Cynthia?
I think. I'm not sure. So I can do too many.
Doubt. Whatever it was.
That's one of the times, well, the multicultural festival is another time that just feels great to be part
Yeah.
of this town. And you see the best coming together. And this image, Kim Marie found and bought it, so we have the right to
That's
use it.
awesome. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Except
Nice.
my printer isn't gonna, it's gonna run out of.
That's right. Yeah, it's beautiful. Excellent.
That's great.
Oh, that's, yeah, Amy, that's right.
I can send it to, oh, I can send it to Greg. How about that?
That'd be perfect.
So send it to me too, so I have it on the Facebook page.
They're still doing final tweaking
Oh,
of
okay.
it,
So don't post it yet.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And they're really supposed to say Needham Public Schools and its METCO program, and this just says Needham Public Schools, so I don't know if they're gonna.
Okay, that brings us to the, does Needham have an immigration policy in that Natick article? Did everyone have a chance to read that article that Amelia sent around?
I don't know if it's.
And that was from next door?
Somebody said, did you see this article? And I saw immigration, so I, normally I don't read that blog regularly.
Yeah.
And it was on there was nothing in the local news until yesterday, I think, and it was, I could send it, there was another article that was written today in one of the news media. That on top of what happened in Natick, the select board wrote a policy. And actually,
Not, and that's not in that article you sent?
the article I sent you, it is, and there's a little,
Okay.
line that where you can, a link that you
Natick
could get to
Select
it.
Board.
The native, because they really didn't go into detail what the policy is, but the policy, I'll pass this around. The policy just was that the town of Needham would, Natick, I'm sorry, the town of Natick would conform to the state and federal guidelines, and they would not deviate from that. And in terms of educating town officials, the police, and town employees in their interactions with immigrants, how they approach them, you know, and they have, I could send this to you as well. People responded. There was a town meeting, the room was filled. People were furious because they're now assuming Natick is going to be a sanctuary town. And they don't want people in the town. And the blogs today, it's just getting worse. People are panicking. Oh, on top of it, there was an FBI raid in Natick today. A person of Middle East background who was involved in planning a bombing, using a drone attack that killed
Oh, that
3
was from
servicemen.
Natick.
Yeah, it was.
In Natick.
Oh, my gosh.
So the same group of people that
bring
were
it all
protesting this simple policy are now, I mean, the town is just going crazy.
Oh.
So I'm thinking, you know, I wonder what is happening in Needham, if there have been any conversations. The police department, the school officials, you know, are people sort of thinking ahead and thinking about what do we need to know? How prepared should we be for some of these things that could happen?
Do you know if anything's happening in the town?
To my knowledge, because it would come out of my office, we are not planning any such employee policy focused on interactions with folks of the immigrant community or folks who may or may not be undocumented. To my knowledge, that is not in the works. I know there is, I know Lieutenant Carroll mentioned it a couple months ago. There is contingency planning, there is emergency planning in place. It came about before the election and is continuing to evolve. They can't tell us much on the police side on what they're planning, but there are plans in place,
Interesting.
should anything happen.
There was another thing, I don't know whether it's the article you sent or not, the chair of the select board there, their car got painted,
Deport.
Mhm.
deport illegal, something like that. And so that was really having something go from conversation to an action. Then I want to remind people of conversations some years ago we had with, it was after John Schuyler, who was the lovely man who was here, who moved to New Hampshire.
Oh, John Kirk.
The other John.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one or the other. What we asked in terms of safe communities, will you act for ICE? You know, if you've apprehended somebody for, let's say, speeding, will you then start to ask about their immigration status and get involved with holding them for ICE? And he said, John Kramer.
Kramer.
Yeah, he said, we don't do that. And then people said, whoa, will you write it down? And they said, we think it's better not to. So I think we understood that's their policy in action, that there were a few sheriffs in the state who were getting involved with doing that, but that isn't something.
What about the schools? We don't, does Cecily come back again? No.
I haven't seen.
Did she come just once to?
She
Yeah,
came
she's
several-
the school, she's the committee chair now, so she's pretty.
Yeah, so maybe they need to have somebody else.
Because I wonder if the schools are thinking about it.
I believe if it's like the school system, I'm looking, any child where they can prove that they're a resident in the town, and that includes being in shelters. It gets its benefits from all the things that any child would in the school system. There's no.
I mean, I'm
No
just
barring.
thinking like worst case scenario, kids in school, parents are undocumented, parents are taken. What happens to that child?
Well, they're talking about,
Yeah,
they're talking about shipping them all.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, but what if the kid's in school and they
And
don't
that's
get the
why
kids? I mean, I just,
The programs in Framingham and Milford, where there are a lot of immigrants, some of them don't have the papers, that they're trying to get them to think through having a friend or somebody who does have papers to be listed as a guardian or an older
yeah.
brother or sister who may be foreign citizen.
Yeah.
Because then if there is a person like that, they can't just sweep them up into
but
whatever.
who's doing that in Needham? I mean, is anybody?
Well, that's something we can ask in terms of the program. Or before that, the immigration forum, we can say, would you please find a way to cover that? How do we get the know your rights and that kind of thing going for people in Needham? There may not be that many people living in Needham, but there's sure as heck a lot of people working in Needham who might be vulnerable.
I'm sure that people living in Needham,
Yeah, I said there might not be many,
not many, yeah.
but there are a lot, I think.
What concerned me about what happened in Natick was that the select board developed a policy. And now the community is saying, you can't do that. It has to be a town vote. Which means, people are getting, the power struggle is looking pretty scary.
Sounds like the housing.
I was gonna say,
That's exactly what's
Wasn't that on the
Exactly.
agenda here? Do we skip over that?
We were asked to table it, by legal counsel right now.
Because I had asked last time, when we talked about what we would like, I said, well, are we allowed to? When I ran into the town manager, she said, oh, there's some kind of law or.
is that because we're a town committee?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's question on whether or not we're considered a policymaking committee because we advise the select board. So because it's a gray area, the legal counsel just said refrain from discussing it right now. So that's why it was.
Okay, thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
Because we just sort of.
Yeah.
You did a great job of summarizing things and why we were concerned.
But so who can we ask about
The
the
immigration.
immigration thing for Needham?
Well, I think Taylor just answered, there isn't one right now.
Yeah, it sounds like Natick tried to issue an employee policy, and I don't know how the town of Natick does it, but for Needham, there is a
Right.
process. For any new employment policy, we have our own Human Resources Advisory Committee as well, that we work alongside their human resources professionals or former employment attorneys. They can give insight on policies, best practices in regards to new employment policies that might come about. We are not currently, to my knowledge, pursuing any such policy, but that would be vetted by the HR committee. It's a town committee as well, and before it goes to the select board for.
But that's
a
not
vote
my
to
question
approve.
was in terms of letting people who live or work here know their rights.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, maybe. I don't know how it would get the most exposure, but I think if we could figure out maybe a resource list that people. Yeah, I think the tricky part is like if we had an event that was like, come learn about your rights.
Yeah.
Who's gonna wanna come to that?
What we did 8 years ago when we had the breaking up into those groups, and I was on the one about accompanying or standing with vulnerable people. The first thing we did was to know your rights, and we got material from the Metro West Worker Center, and we started to go to different employers. And the idea is they don't want their employees to be swept up in a raid. And so,
Well, they also like, I mean, that kind of, the employers could be in a lot of trouble if they've got people.
yeah, but there's families too, or there are people who know people, so it's getting the word out through a network.
So is that under the purview of Human Rights Committee? I mean, these are people's rights, so,
Right.
is that something that we should be?
This was those groups that emerged when we had
That's a great question.
we had that empowerment fair the Sunday after the inauguration at the First Parish Church, and 100 people signed up to be in 3 groups, and we had about 20 new leaders. It was very exciting, but we didn't change the world. We just took a few stabs at it. And the other group was legislative advocacy, and the third one was bridging differences, which we have a statement.
But I guess the question is, should we have information available, should we get approached?
What if, we put together, again, like kind of a resource list that maybe you could make one of those magic QR codes for or something that we could have at the immigration event. We could also post on the website, maybe we could.
That'd be great.
I don't know.
And I think we could get some of the things from the Metro West Workers Center.
I will just add, it's not in my purview as liaison, but I just happen to know other resources. Mira Coalition
Mira,
is,
yeah.
also has some trainings coming up, it looks like.
Mira
If
is good.
anyone wants to be trained on Know Your Rights, so that you can be an ally, as well. Just throw it
Yeah, and they work with the Metro West Workers Center, and bring Mira people out. And maybe also ACO, I can't remember the other group.
Well,
That's
Heather also in her role at the Mass Law Reform is very connected. Yeah, so I'm sure there's, I don't think we need to create a resource
No,
list
I'm
or.
sure
just
it's
there.
there.
So
This.
if you provide it to me, I can.
Yeah.
Do the magic.
Yeah, here's the Metro West Workers Center. thing.
Hocus pocus.
And then what's gonna happen to people who are legally here, humanitarian parole, for 2 years? For a lot of those people, that's coming up pretty soon. Temporary protected status can be renewed or not. There's a lot of people who were already in the system.
I'm so glad my husband became a citizen, but now I'm thinking he wasn't born in this country. And he may be sent out.
He can't be.
No, not.
Well, that is what one person has been promoting.
Oh,
That is a new
Even
policy.
if you're a citizen?
Yep,
Yes.
if you were not
natural.
natural.
I don't
Naturalized.
think that's.
I don't think so, because look who's been appointed.
would
to
be
some
his-
My
positions.
mother's
Wouldn't that be his
been a
family?
citizen. She's from Spain. She's been a citizen for like 45 years. I can't imagine. Or 50
Yeah,
years.
it's interesting how that will play itself out
Yeah.
after January 1st.
I think if you're a citizen or a green card holder,
I think you're
safe.
okay, yeah.
Right,
And there's
but if
also,
that
You're supposed to-
changes, that policy
Yeah.
and
changes.
I don't know that.
I don't know if it can be,
I don't-
but
Well,
but
they
that
were
is what
they're
is
saying
being
if you were
promoted.
born in this country and you're a child of illegal,
Yeah.
they're gonna take
You
you. I
can't
mean,
do
that's
that
what.
either. It's in the Constitution.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh,
I don't
but
know
they
how
want to
to-
have a constitutional convention. They want to change.
Really,
They
they
wanna
can't
change-
even pass the budget, like, I'm not ready.
That's true.
Yes, but
It's a good
They don't
optimistic
care-
view.
they don't care about that.
Actually.
they just go around, they don't care about that.
the problem is, it doesn't even matter if he can do it, he's saying it, so it's gonna freak
Yeah.
everybody out
Yeah,
anyway.
so the
Yeah.
confusion
Right.
here, but some of those things might happen, so we have.
I mean, the TPS and that humanitarian parole are for sure problematic. I think ours is safe.
I hope so.
I hope so.
There be family members of the new administration.
That's scary.
His wife would have to leave.
That's what.
And her
So
parents.
let's,
The rules don't apply that high up, I don't think. It's only for the rest of the world.
and if you're interested in going to Framingham, the Metro West Worker Center has a thing called Convivio, which is a gathering of people in the immigrant community and allies at a church in Framingham. I can send that out to people. It's, all the stuff is sent around with the Immigration Justice Task Force, but it's not public, but it's not secret, so maybe if people were interested, tell me and I will send it to you.
So is it, like, are we considering this is because we might want to ask the select board to make some kind of statement, or are we just talking about this because it's an interesting thing to talk about?
It's related to human rights and what can we do?
Yeah,
Oh, no, I
just
know.
based on what's happening in Natick, we just didn't know
If there was.
anything, yeah.
And we found out that there's not, so. And you'll let us know if that changes.
But with
Absolutely.
with the form, I think that resource list is a great idea, just to have in our back pocket too. Just in case, because it's not out of the realm of possibility that we might get approached.
I thought the statement from the Immigration Justice Task Force, which you had shared with us earlier, Cynthia, it was really powerful.
That's really, it's pulling together what's on their website of their mission.
Was that in the Needham Observer? Should be
No, I don't think
publicized,
so.
they should publicize that.
No, I asked them if they were gonna send it like around more, and I think they got involved with other things, and that was approved at the November meeting. Some people did not agree with it because they thought not everybody would agree with treating people equally regardless of immigration status. That's probably not in the, when you look at the statement, town statement about, gender, race, so forth. I think it says citizenship, but I'm not sure it says,
National board. National
Oh, I
board.
I think this is national.
yeah,
It might say, immigration status.
I think it says citizenship. But that will be interesting to see if that's.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us, Amelia, that was. That's super interesting.
And it seems to prove John Kramer's point.
Right, exactly.
Not to be.
Gemma, any update from the school front? Nothing?
We just finished the strategic plan for the next 5 years, and there was a lot of focus on pushing on the graduate, which is very rooted in equity, diversity, inclusion. One of the things that came out of it was really trying to, I don't want to say on board, but bringing along parents. Because it's a lot of the student, you guys are hearing that messaging all the time about what the Portugal Medium Graduate is and how important it is to include the equitable across staff, faculty, curriculum, all of that. But I think that one of the conclusions that we came up with as this group of 65, all from all different corners of the Needham community, was that one of the challenges is that that message doesn't necessarily get home. And so the challenge is sort of sometimes you're battling what you learn at school versus what's happening at home and how you reconcile those two things. So we don't have an answer for that, but there are a lot of discussions about that in the work group. So there was a lot of talk about that. Somebody even threw out a portrait of an Indian parent. You know, how do we,
Oh, wow.
how do we make this much more of a community-wide?
Was this full
Effort.
coalition?
No, it's just strategic planning that happens every 5 years, I guess,
And strategic planning
Oh, for the
for the
town?
schools?
for the Needham Public Schools. Yeah.
Oh, for the schools.
I was invited to do this, I don't know
Yeah, that's good.
how this happened, but
You were having a drink with this.
yeah, there I was.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the big topics that we discussed with regards to what's sort of what we talk about here on a regular basis.
It's interesting how that ties into, I'm not on social media really, but I saw Dr. Goodkant's email today about what was
I
going
emailed you
on.
guys with that.
And then I
Yes.
saw
Yeah,
that.
should
And
we be talking
It
about
didn't
that?
seem like it ties into exactly that. point.
Yes,
The parents, profile of a parent
yes. Come on.
slings mud anonymously and then goes and
Social media,
Gross.
social, such a
Yeah.
loose definition of the word.
So I'm not on the parents page, so I didn't know the initial thing. I only saw what you sent us.
I guess there was just talk about, somebody was, I said you had made a couple of comments, there were,
Yeah.
concerns about what's happening in one of the elementary schools, and then that escalated, and as something always does on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of complaining about different heads of the
And
different
everybody was
elementary
responding
schools.
anonymously, which
Yeah,
I've never
it's so
seen before.
ridiculous. So then one of the comments was, this is what you get for like a DEI hire. And then that, I think, is
Speaking
why
to
the
the
principal,
principal,
yeah, speaking about the principal in the schools, and this is what Dr. Uticans then sent out this school-wide message saying, we're not tolerating that kind of behavior. And I completely stand behind
Yeah.
our,
The staff
our
and the
staff.
principal.
Yeah, we're not tolerating that type of racist
I
behavior.
wonder if she experiences that very often.
It's ridiculous.
Well, keyboard warriors are often much more vocal than.
And he did mention cowardly. right?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
a good-
it's-
It's a good
Yeah.
use of the word for sure.
But so, yeah, and it's a perfect example of sort of what we talked about during our strategic plan.
But you don't have kids, you guys, well, you don't have kids in school yet, right? And your kids are not.
Not in high school, yes.
No, this is a.
Oh, elementary, I'm sorry, yeah, no, not at that school.
Not that.
No, exactly. No, but it's
But it is.
very
it's
disappointing
challenging,
and
it's
also
challenging.
not that surprising,
too.
unfortunately, which is even
It's-
more
it's
upsetting
Really sad.
that it gets to that point.
What school was it?
Cindy
Cindy
Williams.
Williams.
Cindy
Williams, yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, it was a very
If you're not on
unfortunate
the Needham
discussion.
parents page. you're-
Well, I see some of the stuff, but I try not to.
It's a good idea.
I'm afraid because I get upset.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was very upsetting. But Dr. Gudicance's response was
Sounds like it
spot
was,
on.
right.
Yeah, exactly, as
He's
usual.
usually spot on.
Yeah.
He's really good. That's.
So I took advantage that you're all here. I sent you the Miro thing about know your rights. So
Oh,
if
that's
you
great, thank you.
want to know more about,
Great.
Yeah,
but that's
yeah,
why,
perfect.
and it was International Migrants Day on December 18th.
Just this town update.
Yeah, is there any update, from the town?
I do have a couple things here. As I'm sure most, if not everyone knows, our town manager is retiring in early summer, and the select board did approve the search committee process on Tuesday. So that will be underway in the coming months. Hopefully, you'll see a lot more news about potential applicants, candidates, as that's a public process. So encourage you to get engaged,
It's great.
meet some folks who may be applying for that position. And in hopefully very good news, the town's finance department has been reviewing old donation accounts and has found several that were flagged for human rights. So you have money.
This is nice. Finding an extra $100 bill in like a pair of jeans.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fantastic.
Like unclaimed money or something.
Yes, so they would love, they do fall under your purview, so of course, because they're town funds, they're public funds, it falls under any sort of procurement, accounting processes that we have to follow. I can help you with that, should
That's
you
great.
decide something is worth spending these funds for, but there are 3 different accounts. Human Rights Donations Account, $301. Human Rights United Way, $859. ADL No Place for Hate donations, $79. A total of $1,239
It's
to
a great
spend.
start. That's
Does that
awesome.
have to be
Wow.
spent by, does that have to be spent by the end of the fiscal year?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And it's available to, so,
Like for speakers or.
yeah, well, because it's funny, because we offline, we just had this conversation about how we want to start to reach out to the, you know, to parts of our town government that are in charge of the money and find ways that we can have a, you know, yearly budget for the
Yes.
Human Rights Committee so that we can, like I said, maybe not rely so heavily on the funds from NDI.
Yeah.
And be able to kind of find our lane doing events and, you know, silly things like we were talking about, getting a high quality version of our logo. So when we have to print it out big, we can actually do that.
You can
Things
use it
that-
for printings, mailings,
That's awesome.
things like that, events. Just keep in mind that I'll help you navigate the procurement process.
Thank you, Tim. Yes.
So it
Because
isn't
that's a
just
little-
there, it has. goes through
Yes.
the-
But so
Public
in
funds.
the past, when we have needed money, remember that, we would go and
And
they would
beg.
just give us money.
Yeah.
I mean, not just endless, but we've had speakers in the past
Right.
who charged, not huge amounts. And we would go, I think at that time it was mostly Sandy Sinclair. And she could get us $250 per
Right.
speaker or something. And which was, I don't know, it was like petty cash. I don't know exactly where she was getting it from.
There was some
But I
budget,
think
yeah.
your idea of us having our own budget, if, and we could start with this.
Yeah,
So I will say that with that,
as the finance committee member. That's right. We're in the right
it's
place.
not just, so that the committee will ask, and I will probably have to sort of recuse
Yeah.
myself from that conversation. You know, what is it for?
Right,
So they're gonna, it can't just be, well, we're gonna a bit of money.
Yeah.
No, like
Very
education.
specific, yeah, right,
Yeah,
so they're
exactly.
gonna want. that.
yeah, like, for example, we were talking
One
about,
speaker a year or something.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's
and
silly
we're
as it
gonna
sounds, but
want
having
sort
not
of,
having a banner, an HRC banner, so when we have events,
Yeah,
something we can show that we have a table and our members are here. Those are the kind of things I'd
Those
like
are
to
the
build
types
up
of
over the
things,
next,
you know, just
year or two.
come up with a few things.
That's right.
And
Flyers.
cost
You
estimates,
need
things
new
like that.
flyers.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, when
Line
we do
items.
flyers, the town does them for us.
Yeah,
But if we
But
had a
like the
budget.
banner.
yeah, exactly.
That's
We
not-
should have a vinyl banner for.
I agree, yeah. Well, this is a great start.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, this
awesome.
is
That's good
great.
news.
Great
Good job.
news.
The
Good.
bearer of good news today. a whole
I
bunch of
know,
times.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like it's usually the opposite.
Right.
I'm trying to like amend my ways, I guess.
Fantastic.
That's great. Thank you for bringing that forward.
I wanted to make sure that people would see this
Yeah,
in
that's
the,
great.
it was December 3rd, but the Diversity Summit article, and this was written by Erin, at any rate, she's part of the NDI.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she just wrote it up and sent it to all the news outlets. And, you know, a couple weeks later, it appeared on the front page with a picture, and then there's some inside. So it's sort of by way of saying, you can't necessarily get a reporter, but if you write something up, you might get it in.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's great. They did a great story on the multicultural festival
Yes.
too, which was nice.
Yeah.
So,
And I, by mistake, picked up these cards from Multicultural Festival that is that campaign that you said the 11-year-old girl did to get It's a gender-free restaurant,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
but I don't really have a use for them. So if anybody wants to take them to someone. I don't want to throw them,
Well, you could pass them around, see if anybody wants to.
but. Amelia, did you know the story behind it? Because you'd written, maybe you can tell people. But
Well, all I know is that Kim Marie happened to meet her father somewhere. And I think she was an 11-year-old. I spoke with her briefly and it really was her initiative. Father just sort of supported her with financially and helped with printing and
And was she at the diversity summit or?
Yeah.
yeah, she had a
Table.
table. That's how I got to.
Oh, right, and then somehow the
In touch
stuff
with her.
got piled up and I took what I thought was the Human Rights Committee flyers and that.
Yeah, there was one table with multi groups.
Okay,
Could I just, one thing, in the annual report, I indicated that the complaint process will be on the web page. And I checked and there's nothing there about the complaint process. So if someone wants to know about it or to initiate a
oh, it's
complaint,
not there.
that should be posted on our
Okay,
town hall
we're gonna make
webpage.
sure that happens.
Unless I missed it, but I didn't see
I
it.
don't think it was up there yet. No,
Was there any follow-up with the person you told us about?
no, it would just sort of. So a little bit more back and forth, but nothing was really resolved at the end.
It's a nice write-up.
And you made a brochure, which you shared at the, did everyone see the brochure of it? Tina? Created for our display area.
Well, we need to, the email addresses.
Yeah,
Not
the email
correct.
was
We have
wrong
to fix
on
that, yeah.
And have the website address.
Yeah.
Not just as a,
Oh, and Gemma, you helped also, didn't you?
Is there, do you have another one, Cynthia? Or was that it? Is that all that you have?
I gave them to whoever put them out at the next place.
Oh,
Somehow with the
You have more?
multicultural festival or the
Don't know
diversity
if I
summit.
have it.
there
well, we
was-
have to update it anyway. How many did the town make?
There were some left.
25, I think, or 50, something like that.
I don't remember how many we made.
I think 50. something like that.
But we haven't heard from anybody else since then.
Yeah, because we need to meet, I think.
That was your soft launch. At the
That was our, yeah, that was the soft lines, right?
Anything else? This is your last meeting, Amelia?
Yes, yes, and it's really hard, but
We can't. thank
I'll
you
miss all of you in
enough.
this room, but I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay in Needham.
Well, we are so grateful for
Well,
all you have given to this
And I just-
community.
feel this committee is in such a good place right now, with all the qualified members and people, thank you, who are so dedicated. I mean, you really inspired me, and I think we inspire each other with our commitment. I mean, it's hard being a volunteer. We all have jobs, day jobs, whether we're retired or not. Actually, I feel like I'm retiring the second time in my life. Because my first home, I was there for 20 years and I retired from Wheelock, and now this is, I think, my 12th year.
Wow.
12.
It's amazing.
Well, it's something like
So
10
you
or
just were
12.
a year before I came back on? You were just.
I
on for
can't
a year?
remember when.
'Cause
I
you were
know
on when I joined. You and Cynthia were on.
Yeah,
And
Cynthia
I
and
was
I
there
were
before, Amelia.
Yeah, and it was a very different place,
I think it
very
was-
different,
Around two
Committee.
thousand and nine, I think.
Mm.
And, yeah, it was very different. They had 2 events a year. That were educational events, and then they were there in case things came up.
Thank you for your kind words, and I will miss you very much, miss these meetings and the camaraderie of it. Just some of the nicest people in Needham are on this committee. So it's,
You've done great work for the
But
town.
I'm not going away, and maybe after, because of the medical issues, once things calm down, I might be available for some planning committees in the future.
Oh.
But not in the next few months.
Leave us with some optimism, that's nice, and you already said you're not gonna change your phone number, so that's good. We can always still find you via email and phone, right? And you're not gonna change your phone number, right?
And we know where you're
Well, if
going.
my husband is denied citizenship.
Well, we wanna
Are
keep
you
you here,
on
but not that
WhatsApp?
drastically, yes, that's right.
Well, this is just a little something from all
Oh,
of us.
thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you so much, Amelia.
Oh, that is really nice.
Wonderful work.
Thank
We will
you.
miss you, Amelia.
So,
Your wisdom, your
Thank
fun,
all of you.
your thoughtfulness.
You all,
Wanna go?
I will.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I never know if it's
That's
polite
You
or
never know
not.
if you're
That's
supposed
the
to.
food.
That's right.
I know, yeah.
I never know either.
Right, and please eat the cookies
That's
and
the
Jen made
food around,
chocolate
so-
bars.
Oh,
Get the first one.
Oh, and we should probably make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so moved.
Oh, so they can turn-
Second.
Recording, yeah.
Oh.
All in favor?
Oh,
Aye.
this is beautiful. Thank